Okay, I have a secret ingredient, all right. I'm not gonna tell you guys what it is, but this is how my morning's starting out. Hello, adventurers. Welcome back to my channel. I woke up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at Cracker Barrel. Last night I got here and it was very warm. Very, very warm. It was 88 in the van until about 2 a.m., which is the hottest that I've ever slept. But I have fans, I turned them all on, and I went right on to sleep and I was good. However, because it was so hot, my power station was pretty taxed last night and I lost a lot of power on it. And I also am starting to think that the Alpha ESS is having some issues. But I'm on my way back to the van this morning to get on to my next adventures. So this guy right here, 99%, 32 watts, normal. This guy, 33%, 0 watts coming out. I don't think that's normal. Ooh, just for some context, yesterday, when I was in Charles and Tony's, that battery was at 100. That means I lost 70-ish%, basically. That's not normal, just for running the refrigerator or the freezer. This power station has been doing some crazy things on this trip. There was another time where it said it was 100% for 4 days, and then all of a sudden it was 0. So, this is why I test things to failure, but unfortunately I still have like a month of travel ahead, so I'm gonna hope it doesn't get to failure, but it may be on its way out. Now, I've been rocking with this power station for a while. This thing has been going and going and going, and it's done really super well, so I'm not even gonna be upset with the fact that it is now being a little complicated, because even though it is gonna put me in some weird scenarios, I do have an extra battery, so I'll be fine. But I need to figure out what's going on with it, so I probably will change this one out of the rotation after I get back to base camp if it's going to be regularly doing this, and I'll just use this as a preparedness power station. But in the meantime, I need to figure out if it's because it's just pulling that many watts. Again, last night it was super hot. By the time that I got here, it was still 91 degrees. By the time that I went to bed at like 11:30, it was still 88 degrees. Just in general, it was hot. It was super hot. And we were under a heat advisory even into the night last night, which is not super common. So summer is getting brutal. But you know, like I've said before, if you want to go to the adventure, sometimes you have to deal with the pain. So there we are. So I started off this morning with a Calypso from inside of the Cracker Barrel. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the van, see that charge is going back to the Alpha ESS to try to troubleshoot it, because that's what you got to do. And then I have one patch I need to put up, and then we're going to get going for the day. I am very excited because I have 2 activities that are planned for Coeur d'Alene. Realistically, I had like 4, but it is already starting to heat up, and it is not even 11 o'clock in the day yet. I woke up and it had already gotten to 85 this morning at 7 a.m. So that should tell you contextually, like it's just hot. So I'm not going to do any hiking today. I'm going to show you guys a beautiful park. I'm going to go to a historic carousel, and I'm going to go to a museum, and then we're going to hit the road and head south because I'm going to try to get closer to Stanley, Idaho today. I don't know if I'll make it all the way to Stanley, but I do want to get closer. I have some packages that I had to get because I had broken those 2 cords, and so I needed to replace them. And so got this morning. Yeah, my packages are going to get to where they're supposed to be days early. That's not great. So, phase 1, start the van. There we go. Phase 2 is go back to the back and see if everything's charging and turn off the radio. Okay, back in, and is it charging? It is not charging. Okay, that's kind of what I was afraid of. Okay, so I figured out why. I think that I blew the plug, the actual DC plug, so it's not charging. So that's good to know. Wouldn't something else break? This trip's been very harsh on the van. I don't know why. I guess it's just been the perfect storm. I'm gonna try to plug in the jackery just to make sure that's actually what's happening, but I'm pretty sure I blew the plug. Okay, so it's not the plug. It's not the plug, because that is definitely charging. Okay, so the plug works. This plug is not working, but this plug works when I put it into a power station. I don't know what's going on. This is weird. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna plug it into the all powers and then over to the Alpha ESS to see if I can do through charging. If I can, then I'm even more confused. Okay, the light definitely comes on. So this thing is working. Now, plugging it in, yep, I instantly start receiving watts. It's a very small amount of watts though. Okay. Now I'm gonna take this guy out and I'm gonna put it back here again. Nothing. And it doesn't work. Okay. Well, on a positive note, I have a new cord coming. On another positive note, I have an adapter so that I can plug it in to the roof so I can charge this power station while driving. Not just on the alternator. So if I can just get it charged up enough to hold me over until then, I may just have to go quicker to the place that I'm going to pick up my things and then double back and do some more things. I don't know what else to do. I'm just like, wow, oh no. Okay, so I'm going to shift some cords. I'm going to charge the Alpha ESS from the All Power. It's not a super high pull. It's like pulling 50 watts. That's not bad. In the meantime, the Alpha ESS is going to be pulling from this guy as this guy is pulling from the roof. I plugged the freezer into the Jackery instead of the All Power, and I have the refrigerator plugged into the Alpha ESS because they have to be plugged in, but the refrigerator pulls less power. So I'm going to do this and then I'm going to check it after my activities, and that way I have constant power going into the All Power while it's constantly be drawn against with the Alpha ESS, and I'll see if that helps, because that way even when I walk away from the van it can still be pumping it up just a little bit. If I can just get it to a happy median, even if that means I have to drive a lot more today just to do it, I'm okay with that, because again, I do need to get closer to where that shipment is since it decided to come in days early. Now if you do ship something to an Amazon Dropbox, typically you have 4 days to pick it up. So even though something is arriving today, I could technically, today is Tuesday, I could pick it up as late as Saturday, but I try to pick things up a little bit earlier because I have had things get shipped back before the 4-day window before. The problem is, because Amazon is typically much slower, I kind of just planned on picking it up at the end of the week because the tracking said it would be there on like Thursday, Friday. And so I thought, ooh, Thursday, Friday, that gives me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, possibly Sunday. That's not the case now. So we're going to have to do some strategic planning of our driving. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do adventuring. I'm definitely going to do that. But this has to be solved. And when you're on the road, unfortunately, this is just how it goes sometimes. Not everything's roses and sunshine. Sometimes things are spoiled milk and nasty flies. So we're starting out at our baseline of 33%. I'm going to remember that to see how far this thing goes. Come on, Alpha ESS, you got this. You can do this. You've been reliable. Just keep on keeping on. Okay, initially I was going to do my patch, but I think I've just decided I'm just going to kind of start moving around a little bit. That was a little disconcerting, so this is going to go away, and then I think I'm ready. On a positive note, the wind is kind of blowing, so it doesn't feel as gross as it did. So, you know, even though I'm stressed, it's not as bad as it could be. There's always worse. I always find that finding the positive in things is the best way to look at life just in general. And so even though that battery is problematic, I've already ordered a part, so I can't really freak out too much, you know? Also though, this is just how it is. Like, over the span of my travels, I have broken lights. I have had honey explode all up in my space. That was why I don't use glass in the van. We learned our lessons. But there's other things, like all the things that have happened on this trip where I had to get new lights, which I still have to install, by the way. I had to fix a mount. I've had to fix things that were very not okay to feel like I needed to fix. I had a water that burst once, and it just made everything in my van soggy and gross. The fact of the matter is, though, you're in a van. It's moving. It's always going to be changing. It's not like a house where you can go inside, just close the door, and pretend like everything outside is not going on. Here, the wind rocks you. The ground beneath you is sometimes hot. It's riddled with obstacles. It has weird stuff. Inside the van, there are other factors where everything is constantly in motion. Especially in a small space, things have to move around quite a bit. And because of that, sometimes weird stuff happens. And you can either freak out and choose that path, which is just going to make you anxious all the time, or you can say, you know what, I can't control this. I'm just going to move forward. I'm going to do the things that I can do. And yes, this is currently going to be a brick, But that's okay, because we're going to solve the issue. We're going to solve it. I don't like to rely on others. I just don't. It's okay to rely on others when you do need them. However, if it's a simple solution, I'm not going to freak out and run home and go, oh no, I can't handle this. What I'm going to do instead is buckle up, Buttercup. We're going to fix this, because ultimately I'm an adult. That's what happens on the road. So, you know, I've had weird stuff happen. When I had the wreck, I didn't immediately go home. I assessed the situation with a clear mind, and I'm still dealing with that, and it's fine. Whenever I blew a tire, yes, I panicked. I did, because I was on a road that I couldn't even get off of, and that was really scary because it was dangerous. But as soon as I was able to address the situation, I just kept on going. Like, there's no point in turning around and giving up just because something is hard. I like a good challenge. And I think that whenever you can embrace the challenge of the road, it rewards you also. And so I've had some incredible things happen as a result of some tragedies that have happened. And I think that because I didn't in that moment just panic to the point of freaking out and giving up, I was able to see those things. And, you know, the universe rewards you. So it is what it is, but now I am finally going to get off and out of here. I was expecting us already to be on the road, but that battery situation. But that's why I do these particular videos, the day in the life videos, so you can see the normal stuff that happens. A lot of times the adventures are super fun, and I like to share those with you, and I like to make evergreen videos so people can find those and have a resource. However, stuff like this matters too, because, like, realistically, if you're out there and you're just looking on and saying, ooh, van life, I want to do that, seeing all the good and the bad is important, because the good stuff, it'll draw you in and be like, look at the views, look at the back door, camping on the beach, oh my gosh, so pretty. But the reality is, sometimes, even though that is something you can do, stuff like this also happens. And this is the stuff that makes it not quite as pleasant, because then you're like, oh no, am I going to have power to do the basic things I need? Am I going to lose the food in my fridge? Is everything going to fall apart? It's not. It just seems like it sometimes, but it's not. But I have to map out where I'm going with this park thing and this museum, see which one would be best to go to first. And those are going to be the two things on my agenda. And then I am going to come back to Coeur d'Alene at some point in the future with Riley. We've already talked it out. She wants to come to Idaho, so we're going to do that. But I'm going to scout where some things are, and that's probably going to be my day here, realistically. Not because I don't want to do more things, it's just because it's going to be boiling hot. And let's just face it, at this point, I got to get closer to that shipment, which... Amazon. Like, have we not had enough words with the air fryer? Like, seriously, is this you making up for the air fryer? Is this what's happening? Because it's real inconvenient right now. I know. Everybody at home who is not aware of what happened with the air fryer, please go back a few videos right before I left for this trip and find out what happened to my air fryer that I was going to put in the van. Wild stories. Apparently, they were like, let's not do that to her again. Let's expedite the shipping. Again, Amazon, can we just go with the date you gave me? Anyway, I'll show you a few more things that are happening in this day, but mostly I just wanted to chit chat with you guys, catch you up to date as to what's going on, where I'm going, and also what trouble I'm having, because I think that that's very important again. And I know these videos are probably not everyone's cup of tea, but that's okay, because for those of you who are out here who are thinking about van life or who might be living the van life, hashtag relatable. Okay, so I put in a map to see what the quickest way to get to where my package is. It is like 7 hours away. Originally I was going to go to Stanley next, but that is also like 7, almost 8 hours away. Mind you, I set my schedule, I do all the things, I don't have to be home until a certain time, and I have plenty of time still. So I could technically go and prioritize the package, because clearly prioritizing power is really important. And along the way, just find some cool things to do along this route, which might work out. Originally, I had kind of mapped out a big circle to hit all of the things that, like, Charles and Tony's family has suggested to me. And I don't want to miss out on those. So what I may have to do is, instead of doing the big circle, because clearly now the package thing is really going to throw me off with that, I could instead do Coeur d'Alene today, the things that I want to do, and then I could move on and go toward Missoula. Missoula makes me a little nervous because that's where that big wildfire was. So I think that I can dip out under the fire area and then go straight down and closer to Blackfoot. And Blackfoot has some neat stuff there that I wanted to go to, so I could just go ahead and do the attractions there, and then I could go a little south of that and maybe do the other attractions that I was wanting to do that are slightly south, and then maybe I could make a big circle again and catch all of those cool things that were suggested to me, or at least as many of them as I can in the time, depending on how the time goes. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Does it make the most sense? No, it does not. It does not. But sometimes, you know, you have to pivot when life gives you a challenge. And this Amazon thing really threw me off. Now, if the package would have just came when it was supposed to, I would have had that 4-day swing and this wouldn't have been an issue whatsoever. But with it, I'm looking at the map right now. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do, because otherwise, if the package gets sent back, then they won't reship it to another place until after it's cleared all of that. I can't get a refund on it. It doesn't do me any good. And then I'm just in limbo for like a week to 2 weeks after that happens. So I would prefer just to get the cord, because obviously power is important here in the van. We can't do the things we need without it. So, that doesn't mean I won't have adventures. In fact, this gives me a different adventure path that's pretty cool. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go do these attractions. I'm gonna get my head together. I'm going to probably make myself some lunch here in the van, and then I'm gonna hit the road toward Missoula. I have no idea what's on this drive. This is a completely different route than I had even looked into. This wasn't on the table, so that means I'm gonna look for brown signs and see what happens. Days like today are a little chaotic. Start off at a Cracker Barrel, end up on a new route, and well, let's be honest, I have no idea what's coming next. But the next thing that you guys will see are those next 2 videos with the museum and also the carousel and the park. And so check those out, and then I'll catch you up to date after. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Today was a lot of talking. A lot of me just looking at you, talking about power and weirdness and craziness and stuff that happens, but it is reality. And so thanks for coming along for the journey, and I hope I can share some cool stuff with you on this new path. We'll see. Till next time, guys. Bye.